Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video. I'm once again in Valheim. In this video, folks, I'm going to show you a method for moving pets around. And by pets, of course, I'm referring to boars. Now, those things tend to have a mind of their own, and you can tame them and everything, but if you want to move them from one location to another, that can be a bit of a pain. So for that, we're going to be using the Abyssal Harpoon. But before we use the Abyssal Harpoon, I'm going to show you how to get it. And the way you're going to get that is by finding these little floating islands, which are not actually islands. They are some sort of creature. Most people refer to them as kraken. But on the back of them, they will have the materials that we will need in order to craft the Abyssal Harpoon. We will need a pickaxe and you will need some sort of a longboat. I recommend a longboat to a raft simply because there are dangers at sea. But as you can see, this is a bit of an island like thing. There's some sort of creature and it has all of these things, the barnacles on its back. So basically we're going to harvest the Abyssal barnacles for the Abyssal material that we need to craft the Abyssal Harpoon. Now the Harpoon is a very nice item, very useful. You can also use it to ship other creatures around. So you definitely want to get your hands on as much material as possible. Now I don't have a boat with me because I did record this a couple of times. It did happen during the time that I was very ill from the AstraZeneca vaccine. Apparently something happened with the recordings. I couldn't find them, so I've had to do it all over again, and I just decided to go with the admin commands because it's just, yeah, I didn't want to go around the ocean all over again. But you can find these throughout the ocean. They randomly spawn in random locations. Now one thing you need to keep in mind is as you harvest the barnacles, you'll see this happen. That means that the creature is now going underwater, so you can only harvest a small amount before it goes underwater. So that's basically what's happened right here, as you can see. Once you have enough materials, it's time to craft the abyssal item of your choice. You can do the abyssal dagger or the abyssal harpoon. We're going to go for the harpoon. We're going to want to do it in the workbench. So I did disable the building mode right here so you can see. And this is what you'll need for the abyssal razor, it's called. Not a dagger, but you know what I mean. And you need quite a bit of chitin, as you can see. We also need some wood and some leather scraps. And for the harpoon, which is somewhere around here, there we go. The abyssal harpoon will need wood, hide, or leather scraps, and the chitin. And you can reuse the harpoon, so that is quite important to note. So if you do miss, it's not like the harpoon is gone. However, much like any other item, the harpoon has a durability factor. Once that's run out, that means you have to repair the harpoon. It doesn't cost anything to repair the harpoon, but I recommend having a couple of these. I'd say 2-3 of them should suffice just in case, especially if you're going for snakes or trying to pull creatures around. Also to note is that the harpoon does also do damage to creatures when you use it on them. So now that we have the abyssal harpoon, it's time to find a high level boar and take it to our base and then tame it. So basically just harpoon it with the abyssal harpoon. Now once you use the harpoon, one thing to bear in mind is if the creature is struggling against you, it will consume your stamina. Now the boar does want to hit us from time to time. It does want to run away as well, and every time it runs away we will use the stamina bar. Also, if you try and fight other creatures, as you saw right there, what will happen is it will break the line, so keep that in mind. You don't want to run off too quick, and you can sprint with it, but I don't recommend you sprint whilst you have something harpooned. But as you saw right there, the boar has already taken damage, so I don't really want to use the harpoon on the boar too many times, otherwise I will kill it. The boar is a starting creature and so therefore does not have a lot of health. Now I recommend using this on higher tier creatures, specifically boars and pets, because of the damage factor. That is, of course, if you want to haul them back to where your base is or close to where your base would be. And yes, while the boar has taken damage from the harpoon, once it starts eating food, it will heal. So that is a quite important thing to keep in mind. Now, I am doing this for illustration purposes. I find it a lot easier to just go around and hunt boar than breed these things. But if you want to do that, fine, that's absolutely fine. If you want to shift them from one base to another, this is probably the best way of doing it, because even when you tame the boars, they just still wander about and do their own thing. You can't really get them to follow you. So this is basically how you move them about. Now, of course, when you got your boar in your base, if the harpoon breaks, that's fine. You can try and harpoon it again if it still has health going for it. So what I'm going to try and do is try and pull it into one of these little pens right here. It can be very dodgy because the boar does whatever it wants to do. It'll do this regardless if it's tamed or not. Probably it is going to be a lot easier if you just build some sort of a funnel system. It does help the situation a lot better. And as you can see, the board just does its own thing, so you're gonna have a bit of fun trying to put it in a pen, which is really annoying. I really wish there was a method of getting these things to follow you, but I guess this is the best way that we have at this point in time if you want to shift them from one location to another. As I said, personally speaking, I'm not a big fan of having boars as pets. I can find them and harvest them in the wild a lot easier. So I'm just going to try and trap one of these guys. You have to be very quick with your fencing, as you saw right there, to trap it in. Once it's trapped in, you can then just let go of it and throw some food at it, and in time it will eat the food and heal. The other thing is, for example, this boar is taking a bit of damage and I don't really want to kill it, for example, so I'm just going to plant a lot of these fences down right here and try and kind of corner it and then slowly push it into the fence that I want to. There we go, it's in, and job's a good one. So it takes a bit of patience fiddling about with these creatures. I personally dislike the fact that they do their own thing and you can't really move them about so easily. But that was pretty much it. That was the purpose of this video. Of course, the Abyssal Harpoon is an item that you can get later on in the game. You don't have to, it's not necessarily an end game type of item, and it is easily craftable. If you have a raft, you can find the krakens or whatever creature that is in the ocean, but do bear in mind that in the ocean you will also have the sea serpents. So I recommend using a longbow, even if it's the small one, because you can outrun the sea serpents. And with the first bow, you can craft that once you have unlocked the bronze, and you can unlock the bronze in the Black Forest, so you can do that fairly early on. With that being said and done, that is pretty much it for this video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and found it useful and informative. If you have, please don't forget to support me and the channel by hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And of course, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. And until next time, stay safe, folks.